when I was introduced to this business. And I was the person that people would walk into the bank and ask about money and about securing their financial freedom and being able to get financial security. And it wasn't until I was introduced to this information that I realized I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anything. And I was in the banks. So please don't be mad at yourself if there's information that's shared and you're like, I never heard this before. I was in the banks not knowing this information. And so, but that was the thing that really drove me and made me passionate about this opportunity, because it was like, well, if I'm in the banks and I'm licensed, I'm certified, I'm being trained, I'm meeting with these people every day, and I don't know about this, who in my family doesn't know about this? Who in my community doesn't know about this? Who in my churches and in my neighborhoods doesn't know about this? And so it became something that I locked on with a lot of the powerful, great leaders that some of them are on this call here today that I have the privilege to work alongside with, and we're making a mark that will not be erased, and we're empowering so many families. And so that's what we're here for. And so what I advise you all to do is get someplace, let the kids watch YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Record the game or what's on TV, lock in right now. Because if you are able to grab some of this information, and it does for you the same thing that it did for myself and so many others, it's going to change your life. And so what I want to do now is I have the incredible privilege to introduce our speaker. And now, this is a flex right here, y'all. This is a flex. Y'all came to the right event now. You came to the right event because Miss Odetta King, a.k.a. OdettaKing.com, is going to bring the energy. Like, powerful woman. She is the agency owner. She's been in business for 8 years. On top of that, I gotta read the notes. She gotta heat, y'all. I gotta read the notes. I tried to memorize it, Odetta. I couldn't. It's too much, sis. It's too much. I couldn't memorize it all. So I'm gonna get to my handy dandy notebook right here. She has multiple six figures that she has earned in this business. She's blessed hundreds and hundreds of families. She has a huge team of business professionals. She is a firecracker. I love whenever I hear her speak. Every time I hear her speak, I always take 5 and 6 things, not one thing. I always take multiple things. Not only that, she is a university finance professor. She's the author of 6 personal finance books, with the most recent one that's out there called Faith and Finance. So you hear, we not coming with somebody with your cousin, mama, auntie, uncle Neil. No, this is somebody who knows what they're talking about. So pay attention, lock in, and I promise you'll be blessed. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to pass the mic to the wonderful Odetta King. Odetta, let's go.
Thank you so much, Jared. I am super duper excited. Y'all, we just came off a real estate webinar, which was so empowering. I know some of you were on and you scoot over, so I appreciate you jumping. But listen, we in work mode right now, right? We are in work mode. So with that being said, I'm gonna get right into it. I love this business. I drank all the Kool-Aid, right, as we say. And so tonight we're gonna talk about the new art of living, right? What is the new art of living? What is this new phenomenon that we're all excited about and talking about? Well, it's a new way of thinking. It's going to challenge you, right? Let's talk about some of the challenges. The first challenge is lack of family time. Who here feels like they're always working and they have no time to enjoy with their family? Or a compromised lifestyle, right? Or high debt, right? The real estate webinar that we just came off of, I mean, everybody probably want to own a house, but you first got to make sure your financial house is in order. And if you got a lot of debt, that's actually going to work against us, right? And then limited income flow. So the first challenge to that is we need to make more money, but we're going to make more money smart. We're not going to go get 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs, right? We're gonna make more money the multi-handed income way, which is a new philosophy, right? The second challenge that we're facing is, oh my God, lack of financial education. I can tell you as a professor, I never learned this stuff at NYU. And there's so many other universities that are not teaching personal finance. And you wonder how we are the way we are, right? And then we have insecure financial future, obviously, because if you don't even have financial education, how are you gonna plan for the future and be secure? And then we have a lack of saving discipline. Everybody's out here just spending. But when you talk about saving, they ain't got no money to save, but they sure got money to spend, right? And then, of course, we're going to lose time in the wealth creation. Before you know, 30, 40 years pass you by and you're like, that's all I got? And you're still living paycheck to paycheck in your golden years. Well, the second challenge to that is what's known as philosophy of 10%, 3 rules, and 3 goals. The third challenge, wow, this is a big, big, big one. And this is why I wrote my third book, This Is Why You're Broke. Because you could give somebody the perfect opportunity. You could give them an opportunity to change their entire trajectory. And they're going to have self-doubt. They're going to have a lack of winning spirit. They're going to lack confidence. They're going to lack focus, and they're ultimately going to talk themselves out of it. They're going to give you all the reasons why they woulda, shoulda, coulda not do this business. Well, that is philosophy of self-improvement. And so when you look at all of this, we can clearly see why we are where we are today, because most of us have never even learned these 3 philosophies, right? So we want to empower families with these philosophies. And let's go deeper. The multi-handed income for freedom. Who doesn't want freedom, right? So ask yourself, is your current income produced by skills and hours or a system? Obviously, it's skills and hours. We were indoctrinated. We were brainwashed. We were scammed. Go to school, get a good job, and work for the rest of your life, trading your hours for time and money. Well, there's gotta be a better way. That's why the 1% runs the world, right? Is your current income rented or owned? Oh my God, who's even thinking about this, right? But now when you are in this environment, you're going to realize, wait a minute, it's rented. Because if I don't work, I don't get paid. And when I die, I can't give my job to my kids, right? Are you able to transfer your current income to your spouse and your children? Well, we know the answer is no. You cannot transfer nothing, no job. My university dean, her PhD cannot be transferred to her kids? No, right? Are you able to sell your current income? And of course, the answer is no, because you don't own it. You can't sell what you don't own, right? You cannot sell what you don't own. So, what's left? You see how we've been doing it wrong all our life? But yet still, some people say, I'm good. No, we're not good. Or if we are, we could be better, right? So many of us, our biggest investment or purchase is going to be a mortgage. By far, that is the highest you've ever done, right? So let's say we have $1 million mortgage debt. Which family is going to pay it off first? Well, obviously, family number C, because you're making 10 times the amount. I don't care if you tell me about Odetta. If I make 50,000, I could save. There's only so much you can save. There's no way you could drop 40 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand a month on your mortgage. if you're making 50,000. But if you're making $500,000, you could drop 10, 15, 20,000 a month on your mortgage. Well, you cannot do that with 50,000. So what's the real problem here? Is it debt or is it multiplication? That in itself, I want you to think. You see, most people, when it comes to New York, they're running out of New York and going down south, and they're saying, oh, things are expensive. No, things are not expensive. You're not making enough money. Your income is not multiplying fast enough to keep up with inflation. So the real problem, when you really think about it, the real problem is income multiplication. It's not the debt. But you see, most people are not even going to see it that way. Your income will never multiply with skills and hours, because there's only so much hours you can give in a day. There's only so much hours you can work. Multi-handed income, on the other hand, it's not just your own two hands. You got multiple other hands working in that same 24-hour. Multiple hands. Not just my own two hands, but I got multiple hands. 40 licensed agents, multiple hands, all working towards one common goal of building our business in the same 24 hours. So would you rather have two hands or 40 hands in 24 hours? Multiple hands is going to give you multiple income, right? And that's how you're going to multiply your income. So do you desire to 5x and 10x your income? Yeah, in this environment, we talk about 5x and 10x. The common people, the average people at your job, this is not even a conversation. This is not even a word in their head, because there's no such thing as 5x and 10x in the job world. What about freedom of time? What about lifestyle? What about generational income? Yeah, we've heard about generational income, but how are you making it happen if you don't even know what to do to give you generational income, right? And so we see that being on the hand of single-handed road, I don't care, with all due respect, real estate, IT, or the good old doctor. We love all those professions. We need those professionals, but they are all on single-handed income. And that's not going to lead you to 5x and 10x freedom of time. The doctor might be making multiple six figures, but he can't enjoy it. He has no freedom of time. When he's away on vacation, he's losing money unless he owns the practice, right? So the way to go is multi-handed income. That's going to lead you to your dreams. So it's not about changing the vehicle, which is the work, but it's about changing the pathway. Now, our second philosophy talks about 10%, 3 rules and 3 goals. For security, you need security, right? Because life will happen. And when life happens, as long as you have security, you can cushion the blow. But if not, you're exposed, right? So the process of wealth creation starts with you setting aside a minimum of 10%. Now we say 10%, and some people may have a hard time saving 10%. But guess what? They sure are spending way more than 10%. They don't have a problem spending more than 10%. But when it comes to saving, they find all the excuse why they cannot save 10%. So 10% of your paycheck needs to be applied to the 3 rules of money, which is compound interest. How is your money growing? How is your money getting taxed? And it also has to feed into accomplishing these 3 goals in sequence: income protection, income replacement, and generational wealth. So we must start with a saving you could only go, I don't know what you're going to accomplish because you have nothing to work with, right? So we're going to empower that 10% to have a secure future because life will happen. So let's see what this 10% looks like. Assuming you make $60,000 a year, you set aside 10% per month. That's about $500 a month. $17 a day. We know we're spending $17 a day, especially if you're on the road every day, right? You're eating out, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you buy a bottle of water, you buy a snack, you go to the drive-thru. Come on, $17 a day is gonna go like just at one stop, one place, right? The corner store, the bodega, you're gonna finish $17. So if you were to be diligent and cognizant of where you're going to save this $500 and be disciplined to save it in an account earning on average 8%. In 30 years, you, my friend, have almost $800,000. Guys, so you know, the average retiree don't even have $250,000 saved up, let alone 800,000. And if they do have 800,000, it's still not 800,000 because you're going to see why in the next couple of slides. And what if you were earning 10%, right? Wherever you're going to park that money. Now you have, love it, over $1 million, right? So Uncle Warren Buffett said, do not save what is left after spending, but do the reverse. Save first, spend after. So let's talk about the effect of compound interest. Compound interest says you take the number 72 and you're going to divide it by the rate of return, which is whatever interest you're getting. And that will tell you how many years it's going to take for your money to double. So assuming you're getting 6%, $10,000 will double every 12 years. So you start off with 10, in 36 years you got 80,000 and you're like, woo, that I'm great, my money grew. Pump your brakes. It did grew, but you could have more. What if you were getting 8%? Well, now your money is doubling every 9 years. So the same 10,000 now is 160,000. And what if you get 10%? Now your money is doubling every 7.2 years. Man, every time I do this slide, I'm so upset. I'm upset because I know all of us on this Zoom out in social media land have had multiple 7 years. Multiple 7 years. If you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, we've all had multiple 7-year cycle. But our money, did it double? So with 7.2, your money is doubling. Oh my God. So you see, stick on this page. When people tell you they're good, know that they're leaving money on the table. Because you might be getting 6% and you say, oh, that I'm good. But 6% on 10,000 is only going to give you 80,000 in 36 years. How would you like to have 320,000 in the same 36 years? Good is not enough. So what's the real rate of return? Assuming you have $100 and you're earning 5%, you get it $5. But then Uncle Sam is right there to back it out. Taxes. He's not going to let you get away without paying taxes, right? $1.25. So what did you net? $103.75. You're like, woo, my money grew. Wait a minute. Inflation, the silent killer that nobody is seeing, but they're feeling it when they spend their money. So the actual rate of return is $100.75. All of that just for 75 cents. Just like your JOB. When they give you that raise of 3%, and then you're like so excited, and then once it hits your paycheck, you're like, wait a minute, that's it? That's it? Yeah, that's it, right? So how is your money growing? Most of us were familiar with fixed products. That is the good old bank. The bank, your money is safe all day, but is also safely losing to inflation. Variable, some people say, oh, Dada, I'm doing good. My money's in the stock market. I'm making money. Woo, woo. The market went up. And they are happy. But wait a minute. When the market goes down, they're like cricket. They are cricket. They are silent. They don't even want to log into their portfolio. They are scared to look at the numbers because their 401k is now 201k. And then you got the smart people. You got the people who are on our platform, who have learned this stuff, studied this stuff, mastered this stuff, and teaching it in the field every day. Index strategies. With index strategies, your money is safe, just like the bank, and your money is growing, just like the stock market. So now that you know a little bit more, how would you like your money to grow? Food for thought. Of course, it's a no-brainer. But why do we not know about this index account? The same question I just posed on the real estate seminar. Why don't most people know about these programs? Food for thought. Now let's talk about taxation. Well, again, there's 3 ways of taxation. We're not saying don't pay tax. We're just saying learn the rules so you can play to win by the rules. Tax now, these are your checking, savings, CD, stocks, mutual funds. You and I get paid our job, we pay tax, we put the money in here. Any growth on the money is what's known as capital gain. Because you gain some interest, you're gonna pay tax on that interest. Simple, right? Tax later, these are all the accounts that your good old job is giving to you. And you think you're like, oh my God, I got a best job. They're giving me a good plan. Guys, I was there. When I was in corporate America, you couldn't tell me nothing about my 401k. In fact, when I was interviewing for jobs, that was one of my criteria. You got a 401k? You got a 401k? If you don't got a 401k, I don't want to work for you. I didn't know better. That was my bargaining tool. You got a 401k? How much you matching? You got a 401k? I didn't know better. What I know today, I wouldn't even have a job, let alone ask if you got 401k, right? But it is what it is. If you don't know, you don't know, right? So with these tax later accounts, 401k, 403b, 457, IRA, all of them, they fall in this tax later category. So tax later pretty much says, Uncle Sam is going to be like, you know what? Don't pay no tax now. I got you. Don't pay no tax now, girl. We good. Just keep stacking those coins. Stack. And you know what? By the way, when you get to 65, we'll talk about the taxes later on. What? Yeah, that's what's happening. So ask yourself this question. Do you think taxes is going to go up in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years? Or is it going to come down? It's a no-brainer. Nothing comes down. Cost of living doesn't come down. You know, like you see this blatantly, even so more so with real estate. Somebody could buy a property 30 years ago, pay $80,000, and 30 years later, it's $1 million. Nothing goes down. So had you bought that property for $80,000 30 years ago, and now you want to sell it at $1 million, you know how much taxes you're going to pay on that? Nothing goes down, right? So we're teaching families, we're educating families how to win the money game through financial education. Because guys, we don't teach this in school. And then you have tax advantage. The word itself tells you it's something good. Roth IRA, 529 college saving, executive long-term care cash value. Now, hold up. Don't get it twisted. It's good from a tax perspective, but there are also limitations in other ways. But if we want to talk about the taxes from a tax advantage, these are the best accounts you want to put your money in for tax purposes. But because I am a professor, I will always speak under 529 college. Three things are going to happen. If you were on this call today, or those of you watching me on social media, if you have a 529 college saving plan for your child, niece, nephew, grandkids, whoever, three things are going to happen to that money. Number one, you are legally disqualifying yourself from getting any free money. Because you know what, honey? We're going to tell you, you know what? You were so good. You saved up money for little Johnny. Why don't you spend that money? Because you got money. Really? Yeah, spend it. Spend it first. And once it's done, then come talk to us. Yeah. Second thing's gonna happen, what if little Johnny is entrepreneurial and he's like, you know what, Mom, I don't want to go to college. That's not me. I want to start a business. I want to flip some houses. I want to get into the financial industry. I want to get my insurance license. I'm ready to make money. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to do all these things. I'm not going to waste my time going to college. Well, now we got a problem. Because that money you're saving at 529, since little Johnny no longer wants to go to college, Uncle Sam is going to say, you know what? We're going to tax you because you ain't going to college. We're going to tax you 10% penalty because you ain't going to college. You see, they want you to go to college so that they could tax you even more and have you buried in student loan and still get out of a job and work for them. But now you're not playing their rules. They want to penalize you. 529 college saving is a big scam. Do not have or save or continue funding your 529. There are better ways to save for your child's future. Now, a 529 is only for college. So if they don't go to college, now you're getting penalized. And you still got to pay the tax. Or maybe, you know what? You like my nephew Corey, and he said, okay, I was born in Brooklyn, but Mama moved us to Georgia. Now I got to go to Georgia. But my 529 was in New York. Is Georgia going to take my 529? Some states don't. So now we got another situation. We don't need that situation. We want to set our kids up for a lifetime and not only for college time. Because you see, the wealthy set their kids up for a lifetime and not just for college. I'm helping a Caucasian couple right now who is an oncologist, and he's not talking about college. Oh no, he is not talking about college. He's talking about setting up his 3 boys for a lifetime. Long after he's gone, they're going to be okay. Not just for college. So we've got to shift that mindset. But again, if you're not in this environment learning this information, you're going to think you're doing good because you got a 529, you got some money in the bank, your kids are going to go to college. That's good, but there's better. All right? Now let's talk about the third philosophy, self-improvement for peace of mind. I love this one, right? Guys, now that I know this, like I feel like I was doing this, but I didn't even know it was what's this called, right? I'm huge on self-improvement. When I was in corporate America, I was signing up for everything. I was going on every trip. I was taking every class, not knowing that was self-improvement, right? So for me, doing this here, it's just deja vu all over again. So we have a common environment, which is where 95% of us are. Well, not us, because we're in this business, so we know better, right? But the common environment, they're comparing. They're criticizing. They have limited beliefs, right? weaknesses. They focus on their weaknesses. And they think of the impossible. Oh no, this can't be done. Oh no, this can't be done. Oh, that's impossible. Oh, nobody's never done that in my family. Oh, I'm not even going to try it because it's not going to happen. Like, no, that's a common environment. And this environment now is going to create self-doubt, complacency. Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good. So you're not pushing the envelope because you're good. You're complacent, right? And then, of course, you're so afraid to change. You're so afraid to try something new. You're so afraid to learn a different mindset, a different philosophy. You're afraid. You're stuck. That's the common environment. But there's an uncommon environment, which we are in, right? Here we focus on our uniqueness. We focus on uplifting each other. We focus on dreaming big. Like, oh my God, just dream. Nothing is impossible. Just dream, 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 dream. Don't limit yourself, right? And then we focus on our strengths. We're constantly improving our strengths. And the possibility are endless. People say sky is the limit. No, sky is not the limit. No, the people are going to Mars. Sky's not the limit, right? So here we have an uncommon environment, and this now creates self-belief, right? This creates a winning spirit, right? And of course, you're embracing change. I'm always ready to pivot. If our leader, Jonathan Mayer, said, hey, Dada, we got to do this today. And then he comes back today and say, hey, we got to do this. And he comes tomorrow and he say, hey, we got to do this. We're okay with change. We are constantly pivoting. We're not getting stuck to one idea, stuck to one philosophy, stuck to one way of thinking, stuck to one way of doing things. No, we're constantly changing and evolving for the better. So let's talk about some companies that have revolutionized our industry with one thing in common: philosophy. Well, Amazon. Their product is retail. Their philosophy is convenience. Quick. You purchase something on Amazon today, quick, by tomorrow is here. McDonald's. Oh, you gotta love those fries. So addicted to those fries, right? Product is food, and they're fast. You could be in and out. I don't even go into McDonald's anymore. I sit in my car and I go to the drive-thru, and in 5 minutes I'm out. I got my fries, I got my shake, and I'm ready, right? And then you got Starbucks, right? Product is coffee, and it's the experience. You feel fancy walking around with your latte in your cup, in your Starbucks cup with your name on it, right? And then Uber came and changed the game. Ain't nobody talking about no yellow cab. Ain't nobody going to, like calling a phone to get a cab. No. Their product is right, and their philosophy is accessibility. Man, you could be any part of the world. You download that app, boom, it's at your door, right? And then when it comes to financial services, man, we are dominating the chart. WFG is about financial services. We bring financial services to the 95% of middle America. And the philosophy is with the new art of living. So let's talk about this process. You join with us. You come on board with us. You start with us. Whether that's going to be you coming on board to learn, whether that's going to be you coming on board to get a license and help family, we're going to reach out to the marketplace. We're going to go and talk to our friends, neighbors, co-workers, church members, colleagues, I don't know, any and everybody. Bless them with this art of living financial information. And that gets supported with our amazing platform that does all the legality, right? When people think or say, oh, this is a scam, are you freaking kidding me? We got more lawyers. We are lawyered up on this platform. Everything before you can even print it and it goes to the public, 20 different attorneys got to make sure that it is right. Every piece of document that goes out in those policies, those contracts, legal documents, it's a contract. It's a freaking contract, which means attorney has vetted it, right? The compensation, how to know who gets paid what, all of those and administration, all of the back end stuff that you and I don't have to think of. Because if you start your own business, you're going to be doing all of this by yourself. And that's why business fails in the first 2 to 5 years. And then we have amazing product like Roth IRA, IUL, also known as Index Universal Life, Index Annuity, Term with Living Benefit, Final Expense, College Savings, Living Benefit, and Long-Term Care, which is so used almost just last week and this week alone. I've spoken to about 4 people who told me they were diagnosed with either a heart attack or stroke or cancer. Last week to this week. Are you prepared? Do you have things in place? What account do you have right now? What account do you have in place that God forbid something happened to you health-wise? That's going to help you continue pay the bills and see the best doctor because you're not restricted to stay within your network with your insurance because your insurance pays the doctor who pays your mortgage, who pays your rent, who pays for the medication, who pays for the Uber to take you there or for your son or daughter to take time off from their work to be with you. Powerful strategies, right? And that's provided by these companies, these amazing companies that have been around for over 100 years. So when people say this is a scam, I'm like, you're the one being scammed because Transamerica has been around for 119 years. Nationwide has been around for over 200 years. Fidelity, Vanguard, come on. You're already working with these people. You already have your money with these companies. So who's scamming who? I think you need some more education, right? And they pay us. Those companies pays us. And that's the process. This is what we do. Rinse and repeat all day, every day. Teach families, help them with our amazing products, powered by these companies who pay us. That's what we do. That's it. So our platform empowers multi-hand income, which you can develop multiple locations, right? Just like the Subway, just like RevMax, just like McDonald's, Chipotle. We empower with the 10%. You got to save that 10%. We say 10, some people could save more and some people can save less. But start the process. Little money is going to grow to big money with discipline, right? And you got to have those 3 roles and 3 goals, because if you're just saving for saving and life hits you upside down, how are you going to weather the storm? Because the storm is coming. How are you going to weather it? We prioritize education. Education, 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 education. Financial education. Without financial education, you are lost. I don't care how much money you have, you're going to lose it. The stock market is going to take some of it. Inflation is going to take some of it. Taxes is going to take some of it. And life will take some of it. And then self-improvement, right? Provide people with an environment to realize their true potential. Guys, you got to stay learning. This is why I love this business. It's continuing education. You're always learning. There's so much to do. I could be on Zoom all day from morning to night. There's so many books to read. We're in book club. In fact, my Faith and Finance, we meet every Sunday for book club. Every other Saturday, we're reading different books. Stay in this environment for self-improvement. I tell people, even if you don't want to do this business, comment on this platform and paying a one-time only $125 is better than you going to school for a semester, which you'll pay way more than $125. If nothing else, you're going to get a world-class financial education and being in an environment where you are going to realize your true potential. Because for most of us, our environment doesn't foster that. So let's look at the journey of multi-handed income. When you start with us, you are an agent. You by yourself, empowering families, right? With the 10% tree rules, tree goals, you could make about $6,000 to $8,000 a month. But when you become a broker, an agency owner, and you have about 10 to 15 licensed agents empowering 2 families, yourself and 6 other agents doing the same thing, helping 2 families, 210. Now you're making about 17 to 20,000. So is it important to have multi-handed, or you want to be by yourself? If you want to be by yourself and make 6,000 to 8,000, that's cool. But guess what? When you're sick, when you're on vacation, when you retire, that's it. That's it. You want to be by yourself? That's fine too. But you're limited. You're leaving money on the table. Because I know you want to go on vacation. I know you want to retire someday. Bill it right. Right? And then, when you have 6 locations, 6 brokers, 6 agency owner, now you are a CEO, also known as a founder. Because every outlet empowers 8 families a month, and you're making $50,000 to $60,000 a month. A month. That's why they say it's a scam. But they're the one being scammed, because their job will never allow them to make $50,000 to $60,000 a month. So who's being scammed? Your limited mindset, your limited environment, impossible mindset. And now you come with the big boys, we're stretching your mindset, and you're saying this is a scam? No, 50 to 60,000 is nothing. That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. There's so much more. This business is a blessing. I love this business. So I want you to look at this chart. We all gonna start at the bottom. That's the beauty with this business. We all start at the bottom, but we all could rise to the top. It just depends on how much you want to put in. You see, what you get out is what you put in. You want to get out a lot, you put in a lot. So, single-handed income, you're running in a cycle. You're like a hamster on the hamster wheel. January to December, you're just going round and around and around and around and around. Same income. Your little 3 to 4%. By the time they tax it and inflation, you're bringing home pennies. You're living paycheck to paycheck. And you do that for 30, 40 years, and you're still going to retire broke. You're still going to retire on a 40% of your income. Every year, you start over. We make this New Year resolution, but before you know it, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months in, cycle continues. But there's a better way. This is the land of milk and honey in America, where you could be as big as you want. No one is stopping you but you. Multi-handed income is the rich dream, or the rich dream, where you could dream as big as you want. With 3 outlets, you make about $250,000. And guys, this is not even real, because you can make $250,000 with 1 outlet. I'm an example of that, right? So we're giving you average medium numbers. 6 outlets, $500,000. 9 outlets, $1 million. Guys, think about it. Would your job ever show you a way to make $1 million? Would anybody, first of all, is anybody at your job making $1 million? Let me back up. Is anybody at your job even making $1 million? Well, if they're not making it, how can they tell you to make it? How can they coach you to make it? How can they train you, mentor you to make it when they're not making it themselves? And they're not even thinking about making it because it's just impossible in that environment. But here, it's not only possible, it's reachable because we have the blueprint, we have the goal, we have the coaching, we have the environment, we have the system, we have the platform, we have the conventions, we have the leaders, we have the mentors, we have it all. You only need to build it once. You build it correctly and you own it forever. And when you die, the next generation continues it. So all of y'all that got kids, y'all are blessed and you don't even know. Because this thing that you're building right here, someday your great grandkids will be eating off of your hard work today. Your dedication, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your generation will be thanking you someday. I don't have any kids, but my nieces and nephews, their kids will know Auntie Odetta. Will know Auntie Odetta. So I'm building it for me, yes, but someday when I'm long gone, they're going to keep eating. They're going to be fed because of this platform. So let's talk about some concerns. Oh, what is the investment? This must be a lot of money, right? I don't have no time, right? Is there a need for this, right? I don't have any knowledge. I don't know nothing about money. Or, this is a scam. This must be risky. What's going on here? Well, let's talk about those concerns. This is a financial franchise. And your financial franchise registration is $125. Which franchise in America do you know that you could start with $125? Nowhere else, my friend. $125 to register your financial franchise. Then you need to get the licensing material. That's how legit this is. You need to study. You need to sit down and study. Yes, to get a license. Once you get that license, you need to go through all the background checks and balances. FBI clearance, fingerprint, to make sure that you can even talk to somebody and ask for their social. And every year you are mandated to do continuing education class and anti-money laundering. So how could this be a scam? Flexibility. I tell people, don't look for a part-time job. Do not waste your time and look for a second, a third, or fourth part-time job. Start this business. Work this business part-time, 8 to 10 hours a week. Invest in this business. Invest in yourself. It will yield way better results than another job. Is there a need? What I shared with you tonight, do you think most people, your friends, your kids, your coworker, your brother and your sister at the church, do you think they know this information? Do you think they know how their 401k work? Do you think they know what strategies to put in place so when they get hit with cancer, heart attack, stroke, dementia, and all these illness, do they have anything that's going to pay them out money? A client of mine told me yesterday, Aflac. I'm like, girl, please. Who? Aflac? Go sit down. Don't play with us. Do not play with us. Aflac ain't got nothing on us, honey. And I did a side-by-side comparison with her. You know what she said? Well, Daddy, we want 4 IUL. Me, my husband, and my 2 kids. Done. Aflac. Go sit down with Aflac. Knowledge. Difficult to succeed without knowledge. Listen, y'all see me talking here today? When I started in 2017, August of 2017, I did not know nothing about money. I knew about saving, but where? Like everybody else in the stupid bank, earning 1 point something, and I thought I was good. 401k maxed out, and I thought it was good, right? 100,000 in the bank, and I thought I was good. You can tell me nothing. I thought I was good. Little do I know, please, I would be broke. I was on the broke bus route. So, you're gonna learn. You're going to learn this knowledge. You will be trained by professionals. We have webinars almost every day, right? And what are the risks? The risk is you staying stuck right where you are. And in 10 years, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it that you did not take this opportunity. You're going to regret it that you're still living the same way. You're going to regret it that your income did not increase. It did not multiply, let alone 5x and 10x. It did not double. It did not double. A lot of 7-year cycle already passed all of us. Now is not the time to be thinking, should I, maybe, let me try. No. Now it's time to go full throttle because we already wasted a lot of 7 years. So the next 7 years, we got to double down. So the risk is you staying right where you are. Stuck. Broke. Physically, spiritually, mentally, because you have no self-improvement going on. So, is it important to get educated about money? Yes, it is. Is it important to multiply your income? 5x and 10x? Go tell your spouse. Go tell your kids. Oh, I'm going to multiply my income 5x and 10x. They're going to be like, Mom, you crazy. How are you going to do that? With WFG. Watch me. With WFG. Just watch me. Watch me. Right? To live a debt-free life? Yeah. Why not? To live a world-class lifestyle? Of course. Right? Why not? I'm going to Japan this year. I'm going to Poland this year. World-class. Would I have ever gone to those places by myself? Hell no. Because first of all, I don't speak the language. Secondly, I ain't know nobody over there. Thirdly, I ain't got those type of friends. WFG made it possible. Right? So are you able to accomplish this with single-handed, which is what you're currently doing? You already know the answer. Come on, 30 years already went by. If it didn't happen 30 years ago, it's not going to happen for the next 30 years. If nothing changed, nothing changed. If nothing changed, nothing changed. Now it's time for change with multi-handed income produced by a system. So in closing, your choices are very simple. Start with us on a multi-handed income path to multiply 5x and 10x your income. Enroll in the process, get your government license, get trained in our system and platform, and schedule the next step with the person that invited you tonight. Step 2, you're like, you know what, Adetta? This sounds good, but I'm not so sure about the business part yet. I don't know. Let me think about it. I'm not so sure. I don't know. I ain't got no friends. I ain't know nobody. I don't want to talk to people. Okay, that's okay. Step 2, let's get you saving. Let's get your 10% going. Let's get your 3 rules and 3 goals, because when life happens, you're going to have some choices. And you're not going to be doing a GoFundMe over here, having your pictures splattered all over the world, begging for money. Which, by the way, when you give people money and a GoFundMe, they don't get all the money. The GoFundMe company is taking a percentage. Food for thought. Sit down one-on-one with the person that invited you to secure your financial future. Step number 3, start with self-improvement philosophy to become the best version of yourself. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You paid out $125. Get on the platform, get in class, get moving, and to God be the glory, we're going all the way up, right? So register for the next convention, which is going to be on Friday, right? We're headed to Philadelphia, which I'm super, super duper excited. And guys, this business will bless you and your unborn generation. But again, if you don't do nothing, nothing's get done. And I'm going to pass it back to Jared. Thank you guys so much. Oh, Jared, we can't hear you. You're muted.
My bad. I'm over here talking. Couldn't hear. Y'all couldn't hear me. Hey, that was incredible, Deb. Thank you so very much. My screen.
I was like, why are you sideways?
Down back. I don't know what was happening.